this is our game running, and you can see now that I'm on a different computer. I'm at the computer at the school, and my monitor at the school is very large, so my turtle window is very large. But when I was on my laptop computer, as I was making my instructional videos earlier, my screen is smaller, resolution is smaller, and so my screen was smaller. So you could see this causes a bit of a problem, because when I'm playing it here at my large computer, it doesn't look right, and then when I play it on my small computer, it does look right. But then if I make it look right here, then it's not going to look right over there. Right? So what I want to do is, to fix this problem, is I want to limit the size of the window to be about that size right there. Okay? And so luckily we do have a function that we can use to do that. And so we're going to go to our code, and up at the top where we make our screen, we're going to go ahead and add another command here, and we can say the screen dot setup and 2 parentheses, right? It is a method, and we're going to put in 700, 680. So what this means is the width of the screen is going to be set to 700, and then the height of the screen is going to be set to 680 pixels. Right? And that, I believe, should be perfect. So let me go ahead and run this and open it up, and you can see now my window is perfectly sized. Okay. So that's problem number 1. And problem number 2, besides this little random turtle that can't find his way to the beach, is if I hold down the directional key. Alright, so let me show you what I'm talking about. I'll get turty over here. I'm going to hold down the right key. Oh, I guess it doesn't. Yeah, there we go. Did you see that? So it he stutters back to where he was. I'm pressing the left key and I'm holding it down. Okay, I'm going to hold the right key and hold it down. Let's see if I can get this bug to happen. Yeah, you see that? You see how he's jittering back and forth? You see that? Okay, so what is causing that problem? Okay, well, what's causing that problem is down here we have our on key listening functions. Right. So what is this doing? The screen is listening to see if the W key's been pressed, and if it has been pressed, it will run this function. If the S key's been pressed, it'll run this function, D the east, and A the west. Okay, so let's say we have turty and we are holding down the D key. We're holding it down. So that means the on key is firing because it's like because I'm holding down the D key. So the on key is like, okay, run east, run east, run east, run east, run east, run east. So it's trying to run east like a machine gun, right? Like east, 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 east. Because the on this function is firing off because I'm holding down the D key. It's like trying to run that east over and over and over again. So what does that mean? That means when it goes to run the east function, right, it's going to move turty forward, and then it's going to run the east function again. So before turty has even gotten forward 30 steps, it's going to run east again. And it's going to try to move turty forward 30 steps. And it's going to try to move forward 30 steps. So it stutters turty's motion to the right. Okay. And so what we want to do to fix this is we want to say if east is fired off and we are executing this code here, then we don't want it to run east again until all of this code here has completed. Okay, so the way that we're going to do that is we're going to use what we call a debounce variable, debounce. And if you've programmed in Roblox, you might have heard this term, but what it is it's a variable that prevents this function or this block of code from running again until it's completed running. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to come up here, we're going to add a new global variable. We're going to call it debounce. We're going to set it equal to true. And then downstairs in our east function, I'm going to add the debounce to my list of global variables that are going to be used in this function definition. And then I'm going to take all of this code that I have for the east function, tab it in, And I'm going to say only do that if dbounce is equal to true. Okay, so if dbounce contains the value true, then I'm going to do all of this. If dbounce contains the value false, I'm not going to do all of this. Okay, that's what this if statement is saying. So the very first thing we want to do inside the if is set dbounce equal to false. And then we're going to go to the bottom of our function definition, which is right here, and we're going to set dbounce equal to true. And so you might be wondering, like, okay, well, how does this help our situation? Let's go back and imagine ourselves holding down the D button. Right? East is firing off like a machine gun. The first time East fires off, it's going to come here and check this to see if dbounce is equal to true. And it is equal to true. And why? Because up here at the top of my program, I initialized dbounce to be equal to true. So it's going to be equal to true the first time that East is run. This is true. Okay? And then it's going to set dbounce equal to false. And then it's going to get turty to move forward a little bit. Right? But before it can get turty to move forward a little bit, it's going to run East again. Because remember, East is running like a machine gun, right? Brrr, it's running over and over and over again. So before it can even set heading, I guess, or even move forward, it's going to try to run East again. But when it gets to 136, it's going to say, hey, I'm not going to run the body because dbounce is equal to false. Right? Because the first time we ran the East function definition, dbounce was true, and the first thing we did was set it to false. Right? So what this dbounce equal false is doing is it's saying, okay, well, don't do this again until I set dbounce back to true. Right? So it's like, okay, give me time to do all of this. And then at the end of the body of this if statement, I'm setting it back to true. So this is basically saying, okay, now that the East function definition has completed what it needs to do, I'm going to allow the East function definition to run again. I'm going to set dbounce equal to true. Okay, so it's equal to true, and I'm continuing to hold it down, so it's running East like a machine gun. Brrr, and then it comes down to line 36, and I say, hey, dbounce is equal to true. Okay, so I'm going to run this block of code again. And the first thing it does is set dbounce equal to false. So that means none of the other machine guns bullets can fire this block of code off, right? So this dbounce variable allows us to prevent the stuttering of the turtle. So let's go ahead and run this again, and let me show you that it works for East, and then you can go ahead and apply it for North, South, East, and West. So here we go. We got a little baby turtle here. And I am going to get turty to the left side of the screen so that I can spam the D button. Okay, so I'm going to hold down the D button. No stuttering. You see that? If I go left, there's no stuttering. Okay, if I go right, I hold it down, there is no stuttering. And why? Because of the dbounce button. Okay, you see this? You see that little stuttering that sometimes happens? Whoa. Anyways, so that fixes the problem. So if you go ahead and apply the dbounce variable to the other on-key function definitions, North, South, East, and West, then we won't have any problems of the turtle not moving the way that he should be moving.